Hi, welcome to this video. In this video, I am going to show you how I drafted the mystery boosters that we opened in the previous two videos. Um, I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that I'm not pleased with this draft, having looked back over it a couple of times now as well. Yeah, not really happy with it, but there you go. It happens sometimes. I was my mind was elsewhere because obviously I'm in my shop and I'm trying to help people and help my staff and all this other stuff. So wasn't quite on the draft maybe as much as it normally would be. Having said that, yeah, I feel like I did not draft well. But anyway, you're going to get to see it all. You're going to get to see my mistakes. You're going to get to see what I thought at the time. I'm going to go through all my picks and hopefully talk a little bit about why I picked it, even if it was a bad idea. And yeah, we're going to go from here. So without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, so whilst I'm talking to you, I'm watching the draft on the screen. I'm just opening pack one now. Hopefully that should have been managed the technology so you can see what I'm looking at. And I'm going to tell you straight away what I picked in this booster, and it was the foil rare. Not because it was expensive, but because, hey, it had a lot of text on it, and it felt like it was going to be a massive bomb. And unfortunately, it was the well-known trap from Shards of Alara, which I actually remember from drafting Shards of Alara, and it was Lich's Mirror. Luckily, I was not the only person in this draft to make this mistake, because these boosters, the distribution of cards in these boosters was not great. There was a lot of copies. We had 3 Elesh Norns across 48 boosters. There were 2 Lich's Mirrors that I know of. I'm pretty sure there were multiple Chasms Stalkers. And this is me just reading the card. And yeah, I took the Lich's Mirror. I can't believe it. For those people who are unaware, it basically resets the game, but it only resets the game for you when you lose. So essentially it leaves your opponent alone, and your opponent can just, yeah, take what the hell they like out of your new 20 life total, and just keep beating you up for the first 3 turns where you just lay land. So yeah, not a great choice. It didn't get played. So booster number 2. I didn't think that booster number 2 was a really good booster, but there were some good cards in there. So Coiling Oracle is fine, but it does put you in colours. There was, I believe, a Penumbra Spider, which is quite just a good all-round card. But it's not something I want to sort of first or second pick. There was also Umbral Mantle. Now, Umbral Mantle, I actually remembered Umbral Mantle being really good from when I played it in is it Shadowmoor, I think? And yeah, I kind of felt like I should have taken Umbral Mantle at this point, just because I felt like the card I did take, which I think was the Balduvian Horde, was just, you know, it's just a card. It's nothing special. But I don't know. I do have a bit of a thing for just trying to draft as many creatures. You're going to only play about 6-ish non-creature spells in limited. So to draft a creature is always preferable. But honestly, I feel like I should have drafted the Umbral Mantle. In this booster, I won't tell you what I've drafted, but I'm just looking through my notes again. There was a Firebolt in here. That's absolutely fine. And the Blister Grub would have been a reasonable choice as well. I mean, actually, I'm looking at the screen now. There was a Venom Sliver. There was lots of things. None of them really got me excited. And this is me just looking through the cards. But Noggle Bandit I really liked. I'm not unhappy with this choice. Firebolt probably would have been a good choice here. But an Unblockable Guy is just really handy and limited. As it turns out, it's a bit of an MVP. A couple of times it came down. So yeah, I'm not unhappy with that choice. Okay, this choice, yeah. So there were quite a few reasonable cards in here. I'm not a big lover of the Arch. Some other people took them, but they went round quite a bit. The Baloth Null I took a good look at. But I think was this the booster with, I think this was the booster with Faith's Fetters in it. Just keep going. Let me have a look. Yeah, there it is, Faith's Fetters. So, and there was also a Hooded Brawler in here. All of those are reasonable. I absolutely probably should have taken the Faith's Fetters here. It's removal. But I got caught up on the fact that I'd taken this Noggle Bandit, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll go blue. And Frantic Search is a nice card. It draws cards, untaps lands. It's instant speed. There's a lot of good stuff about it. And yeah, for some reason, I just thought, wow, that would be the card. Maybe we go blue. Um, but honestly, I can't get past the fact that I really should have taken the removal at this point. I remember Faith Svetters being a fine card. It's quite slow, but not ridiculously slow for limited. The gaining 4 life is not irrelevant. But yeah, being able to take out a creature. One of the things I did not draft in this draft was enough removal. Just did not get enough removal, and that's on me because there was removal here. It wasn't great removal, but it was fine. There were a couple of times when I should have taken it and didn't. So, and this is one of them. But Faith Svetters probably would have put me into white, or at least had me tending in that direction. And in the end, I took the Frantic Search, which did not get played. All right, so now looking through the next booster. I have a feeling this booster wasn't that great. And I think, Tendrils was in here. Yeah, so I had a look at the Tendrils. I'm just having a quick look. This was the one with Sigilled Starfish in it, I think. Maybe. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is the one. So it had Insolent Neonate, Tendrils of Corruption, Felidar Guardian, and the Sigilled Starfish, all of which would have been, not too bad a picks. The Felidar Guardian is for combos and such. In the end, I decided on Bestial Menace. I mean, you can tell me what you think of that pick. It is 6 power for 5 mana. It sends you reasonably wide. I quite like going wide. I think there are a couple of times where I thought I was going to try and go wider than I eventually did. But the Bestial Menace, I seem to remember, is a nice card. It also, if things are sort of landlocked at the end, a really good sort of fat creature can sort you out, and also three creatures in one turn can also sort you out. So I felt that Bestial Menace was fine. Okay, moving on. Pick number 6. In this booster, I think the only other card I really considered in this booster, given that there was another Frantic Search, when I didn't want another one, was the Aura Gnarlid. Again, sort of can be to some degree unblockable, and if you can make it bigger, it can be unblockable for quite late into the game. But I think in the end my pick was the Hooded Prowler. I have a real thing for 3 mana, 3 power guys. It has 2 toughness, so not as good, but yeah, definitely like those 3 power, 3 mana guys. Okay, moving on to this booster. I'm already looking at the Dungrove Elder. I did have a look at the Engineered Might. There was also Sulphurous Blast in here, as you can see, and Aggressive Instinct was another one I had a look at. But again, I think actually Aggressive Instinct might have been the pick, because I've already started down the green path. It's green removal. So maybe I should have taken that, but the Dungrove Elder just seemed pretty good to me. As it happens, it never really performed because of reasons you'll see later in the draft. But yeah, never really got that one going, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm sort of in green at this point, and not really not really knowing what my other colour is. And I took the Fire Elemental. There was also Elvish Visionary in there, which would have been fine. But it didn't seem like a great booster. This is one of those picks I really think I kind of picked badly. I took the Spark-Tongue Dragon, but honestly, it's 5 mana 3, even flying, it's not great. And that Elephant Guide, yeah, I get that it's an aura. It suffers from all of the problems that auras always suffer from. But if it does stick, then it's, you get a creature out of it as well. So that was I think a bad decision. I probably should have taken the Elephant Guide. Looking into this booster, there was a Penumbra Spider here. That was a fairly easy choice. There was a Fervent Strike as well, but Penumbra Spider is a really good one. It's a 2-for in some situations, and also slows down people's small flyers. Did actually win me a game, that card. So yeah, definitely a good pick there. Had no idea what to take here. I probably should have taken the blister grub. I was literally just looking for something to hate pick because there was nothing for me. I didn't want the grapple with the past. I knew I wouldn't play it. I think probably the blister grub with the swamp walk is probably the best card here. Gravedigger is a fine card. You know, it gets something good back from your graveyard. So I took the the Gravedigger. So this one, again, I shouldn't be having to think this hard at this point, but this sort of was cementing for me that green and red were still open because of the picks that are left. They're not great, but they're obviously still left. So I was thinking, oh, I've chosen the right colours at this point. My initial choice was the Hooded Brawler. Again, 3 power, 3 toughness, but the Baloth Knoll, I was sort of thinking, I don't mind a splash, especially given how broad these cards are. Like, these cards come from all over the place. It's a chaos draft, so going 3 colours may give me some options later on. So this is what I was thinking through. The other thing I think was the Goblin Assault. Also, I was thinking I might be able to use that. I'd seen one exploit card go around. So anyway, I took the Hooded Brawler, then quickly changed it for the Baloth Knoll. Took the plunge. This booster, taken fires if you have a Maya. It's red and green. I don't think I ended up playing it in the end. Take the creature over the land. Yeah, the creature has haste. It's like a 4 power hasty guy that you might get in. So it's it could end up being quite just a 4 to the face type card. And then Goblin, what was it? Goblin Rough Rider, 3 power, 3 mana. Absolutely fantastic 15th pick. I'll take that all day long. I probably got played actually that card. So just looking through, I feel like I'm cemented now in green red, and I am happy with those colours. They seem to be coming around, but I'm not happy with the draft. I've not taken enough removal, and honestly, there's no creature in there that makes me go, "Oh, this is going to win me the game." You know, so at this point, I'm not massively happy with the draft and the way it's going. But also, I seem to remember I had in my head that I always constantly thinking, I'm not taking enough creatures. I'm not taking enough creatures. Actually, I've taken plenty of creatures. It's kind of weird how you convince yourself that you've done one thing and actually you've done a completely different thing. And when I was looking through my cards to see what I drafted, honestly, I was really more showing the camera than I was looking through because my mind was elsewhere. So should have really had a good look at that point. So this booster was really nice. It had Experiment 1 in it. Goblin Matron was what I was thinking about. What else? There was Fervent Strike, Ancient Brontodon. Kiss of the Amisha was, I remember that being a kind of surprise good card for limited. It also had rocks in it. But honestly, I love Hornet Nest in limited. Obviously, it doesn't kill anything when it blocks, but it generates multiple flying 1/1 death touch guys, which basically gives you multiple removal. Remember, I'm already thinking I haven't taken enough removal. I think the Hornet's Nest was an easy choice for me in here. And honestly, again, this is another card that won me games, so I'm fine with this pick. Experiment 1 was a hard one to pass. I really like that card, but yeah, is what it is. So there was, in this pack, there was some reasonable stuff. I'll start with the bottom of my list here. So there was Universal Solvent, which was, it's removal, but it's really slow. I mean, even for limited, it's really slow, but it takes out anything. So that was worth thinking about. Blasting Station was in here. That might have been the right pick. I'm not entirely sure. There was also Blanchwood Armour. Now, given that I didn't get Dungrove Elder going, which essentially is the same sort of thing, then yeah, maybe Blanchwood Armour not the best choice, but it's possibly the strongest choice. I don't know. But again, auras, it's always a problem. I went with the Colossal Dreadmore, which I feel like for a second pick is terrible. So yeah, I mean, you guys can tell me what you think I should have taken out of here. Blasting Station probably, but I'm pretty sure it was the Colossal Dreadmore that I took. Yeah, wasn't happy. The Granitic Titan might have been a better choice, just given my colours because of the cycling, and also Menace is not not terrible. But a 6/6 with trample, I just felt like that trample puts it over the edge. You know, the big creatures are big creatures; they can be chump blocked by anything. But stuff that has trample, it's like, you know, flying unblockable. Any of these stuff is really good. Menace is sort of second tier, but it's still really good. I make Menace on little creatures because they get in early and do their damage early. Yeah, I really had a good think about this one. Probably holding up the entire draft at this point. I don't remember doing that actually, but yeah, in the end, Colossal Dreadmore was the pick. And talking about picks that we'd like to do over, but absolutely got away with, as it turns out, was this one. So I'm going to tell you that I took the Spargatongue Dragon. Inferno Jet is probably a fair pick here, because it cycles just to get through your deck. Probably even should have looked at Sprouting Thrinax, but honestly, I think Umbral Mantle is the card I should have picked because it's really good. It's a really good card, but instead I took a 3/3 flyer for 5, which seems again really underpowered at this point in the draft. So yeah, we took that. That's what we took. It is what it is. So I did look at, in this booster, I did look at Rock's Mauler, but there was Hot Soup, and it always feels like people overlook this card. It makes anything you've got unblockable, and in limited, most removal spells will just kill. Most things that are targeting will just remove, or damaging will just remove the creature in any way. So the downside of Hot Soup, not so good. I mean, I have seen things like Blasting Station, and I think later in the draft we see Flame Jab. So there are a couple of things that really want to see the Hot Soup. But as it turns out, that was an MVP, that pick. And when I was playing Sam, he pointed out that something I did was terrible when I attacked. He could just kill my thing. He took the Blasting Station, and but it wouldn't have mattered to the game as it happens. He was kind enough to let me take it back, but it wouldn't have mattered to the game. So I still had the win in my hand. But yeah, it was apart from that one slip up, it was fine all day long, and actually probably won me some games. So happy with that. This one, I took the Beetleback Chief. The Thornscape Battle Mage, as it turns out, would have been active on all fronts because I ended up taking some white and playing a little bit of white as well. We'll come to that later. But yeah, in this one I took the Beetleback Chief. I think going white again was the plan. I don't know that there was much else in that booster. Again, probably doing this because I'm waiting for the next pack to arrive and I'm just showing the camera, but not actually thinking about the cards that I've drafted. I really should have done, because had I had a good look through, it probably would have spurred me on to take more removal or more non-creature spells. Okay, so this one, again, this one, like, I could have. Okay, there's nothing really here for me. I had a good read of Goblin Game, so I didn't remember what it did, but not something to put in my limited deck, I think. I didn't like any of the cards in this pack, and so decided, well, I'll hate draft something, and boy, should I've taken the Kiss of the Amisha. Absolutely should have taken that, because I remember it being a big surprise and kind of annoying when you play against it. You're just on the cusp of winning, and all of a sudden your opponent reloads, yeah, it's really frustrating. So I absolutely should have taken that. Instead, I took the Ruin Rat. Not quite sure why. I think maybe because small Death Touch, it's sort of removal. So I'm just taking that out of the thing. I'm not sure there's anything here that I would want to play in my deck. You can tell me otherwise if you think I'm wrong. Happy to hear about that. But do tell me why. Don't just tell me you're wrong. That would be counterproductive. So onto this one. I really wanted to take the Gilderbarn, but Gilderbairn. It's so pretty, but the bottom line is I didn't think it would help. And Mask of Memory was in this pack. I've already thinking I've got a couple of unblockable things. That Mask of Memory might come in handy. As it happens, it did. I got that plus the Umbral Mantle onto a couple of creatures, which made them hard to block. And I think I got it on with Hot Soup once or twice, and drawing those extra cards obviously really helped. So really pleased with that particular pick. Bearing in mind I still haven't taken enough removal. I did look at a lot of the cards in here. So you got the Ravenous thing there. In the end, I went with this with the Treacherous Terrain, and I did that because of the land cycling. At this point, I'd not taken a third thing, but the land cycling is never bad. And you know, if I cast it for its actual effect, again out of the blue, might be a win. It only ever got land cycled, but it didn't enable me to go into 3 colours later on. Did take a really good look at the Dragon Mask here. That notion of being able to bounce your own stuff and make it bigger so that you've got comes into play effects for days. Yeah, had a look at that, but I couldn't think of anything where that was actually applicable. So I took the Fervent Strike. I figured that would be just a good card. This late in the pick as well. I was just happy to see it. Same here with the Granitic Titan. Nothing wrong with that cycle. So early, get rid of it. Could have taken the Universal Solvent again. And this is where I was really pleased to see that Umbral Mantle wheel. I think it had been playing on my mind that I didn't take it, and I just had this nagging thing of when this was in before, it got played and it was good. And I'm thinking, you know, it's essentially kind of like Vigilance. It's a bit costly at 3 to untap, but there are lots of things you can do with it. The hooded Brawler, was it? I think was the one that exerts and gives itself +2/+2 if you exert it. Well, if you get an Umbral Mantle on that, and I did do this in the game, obviously you can exert it and it's not a problem. You just pay 3, untap it, and you're good to go, and you end up with a really big creature or a really big blocker or a big blocker. So glad to take that one. Really glad to see it will. So that pick I think was Valley Dasher. In this booster, I literally just took the Gleeful Sabotage. I wasn't intending to play this, but I figured it's nice to have in my sideboard if the opponent is, you know, running some stuff which that can get rid of. Artifacts and enchantments. Then we had Goblin Game, which I just took. And then it was really nice to see Cobblebrute as my last pick. I don't think I played it, but I could have done. I mean, it's 5 power for how much? 3 mana or something? I forget. Yeah, 2 toughness, but it trades with something. You know, it's not horrible. It's as a last pick. It's on color. You know, most of the time you don't get that. So yeah, absolutely happy to see those. To see that card again. Probably doing this and looking through. The booster here more to show the camera rather than to actually look myself, and honestly I really should have been paying more attention, but as I say, my mind was pretty much elsewhere at this point. And now we're waiting around for the final booster to be opened, just making sure that everyone has had a chance to check their boosters and make sure. So on we go. And this is where my draft took a little bit of a sideways turn. So there was Moonglove Extract in here, and there was also Bombard, I think it's called. Just wait whilst the booster going through the booster now. Bombard, yeah, I probably should have taken that. Giant Growth's also kind of fine. First pick, maybe not. But yeah, Degree of Justice. Now, I have a real soft spot for Degree of Justice. It's probably a lot worse than I think it is in Limited because of, you know, you need to spend a lot of mana on it to make it ridiculous. But I really like it, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's go 3 colours. Let's splash for white, because you know it's only a cycle card. But then I'm thinking, oh, I need to have at least 2 white regularly, because I might want to cast it for its big cost. It's really expensive for its big cost. I think it's like 6 mana for 1/4/4, 8 mana for 2. So you need huge amounts of mana to make it good for its big one. If you can, it's fantastic. But I think 8 mana is where it levels out, isn't it? So But yeah, so at this point I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna go 3 colours. So there was Nantuko Husk wouldn't have been a terrible pick here, just because I had the Balathonol, so there's still the potential to sort of splash for black, for example. But given that I'd made this decision to put some white in my deck, and that search for tomorrow looked pretty good. I don't think I ever saw it. I think if I did see it, I'm not sure if I played it. I think I might have suspended it. I think I might have suspended it once, actually, in the whole of the draft. So it never really did much for me. This is one of those ones where you just wish you had it back. There's a fiery temper right there. Look, right there. There's a fiery temper right there. Take the fiery temper. I didn't take the fiery temper. Again, I still had this thing in the back of my head. You've not drafted enough creatures. Draft more creatures. It's never that bad to draft more creatures. So I took the Snapping Sail back. I don't even think I ever played the Snapping Sail back. So maybe I wouldn't have played the Fiery Temper. Maybe I never would have seen it. But I really feel like I should have taken it. I think it's the right pick, and I just punted that one, so that's fair. Given that I'm thinking of splashing white, I suppose I could have looked at Beacon of Immortality. It's no Kiss of the Amisha, but I could have taken it. There's a few cards in here I could have taken, but the Qasali Pride Mage is just such a utility card. It puts me into 3 in my head. It puts me into 3 planes in the deck because I've got 2 splashes now. So 2 splashes, 3 land to support it. But I'm also thinking those unblockable creatures that I've already got with the hot soup. Qasali Pride Mage, just the Exalted just gets you over the top. So I like that. That was definitely the pick, and I'm not unhappy. There was also Flame Jab in that booster, I think, as well. So looking through this one, I probably should have taken the Wild Nacatl, given that I'm playing all of the right colours, but for some reason I convinced myself it wasn't very good. In the end, I took the Crowned Ceratok, which is just a guy. That Flamekin Zealot, that was also something I could have taken, but I really feel like I should have taken the Wild Nacatl. It turns out one thing I was really low on was good small creatures, stuff I can play early game. A lot of my stuff was, at 4 and up. I had some at 3 drop, had enough at 3 drop, but yeah, not enough like good stuff. And Wild Nacatl would have filled that spot, so I definitely should have taken that for sure. So looking through this pack, the Ambassador Oak would have been fine. There's that 3 mana 3 thing Frontier Mastodon. That would have been fine. By the way, Bottle Gnomes is in, so honourable mention. I love Bottle Gnomes. I'm not telling you it's good. It's not good. I remember Dancing Gnomes being a thing where you just recursed the Bottle Gnomes to gain loads of life. In the end, I took the Reckless Wurm. It's a big thing with trample, and that's no bad thing. I'm not madnessing it. I can't imagine madnessing it. I need. Hate picked that Ruin Rat. Would have been good at this point. Make me discard this and madness it into play. But we took the Reckless Wurm, and it's not a terrible pick. I'm not unhappy with that. So I think probably waiting for boosters here, and again probably convincing myself that I haven't drafted enough creatures. So yeah, just waiting around. So there was this Gitu Lava Runner. I mean, it is what it is. It's not the card I'm looking for particularly. Runner Mock's fine. Pax Favor's fine. There's none of them funny. It's got a Street Wraith in there. I mean, is that worth money still? I think it is. Maybe. I don't know. But the Greenbelt Rampager was the choice. It seems to promise a lot. One drop 3/4. That's amazing. But obviously, you have to have those 2 energy. But I seem to remember, like in the past, being able to go turn 1, play the Rampager, turn 2, play it again, and again, and you've got a 3/4 on turn 2. That is never bad. If you've got 2 green mana. There's a lot of ifs in that statement. If you've got it in your hand, if you've got 2 green mana. But I wasn't happy about that pick, if I'm honest. I wasn't disgusted with it. And I think I got it into play at least once in one of the games. That pick was Prickle Boar. Yeah, that's a fine pick. There was also Wee Dragonauts, but yeah, not a favourite card of mine, but it is a flyer and it is reasonably cheap and does get bigger. So, you know. Should have absolutely taken the Giant Growth in this one. Had a good think about it. Oh no, sorry, I should say I wasn't thinking about this one. I was actually talking to my staff because they had some problems at this point. So I'm having a little chat, helping them out, and not thinking what I should be taking. And what I should be taking is the Giant Growth. And I took the Bear Cub. It was pretty, what can I tell you? It's a really nice card, and it's from a set I don't have many cards from. Not that it's from the set, but you know what I mean. Vastwood Gorger would have probably been a better pick. But so Bear Cub, sue me. I don't care. At this point, I was a little bit beyond caring. I felt like I'd done really badly. This one, I took the Sun Crowned Hunters. It's a fine pick. Nantuku Husk is in there as well again, but obviously I'm not going to play at this point. But the Sun Crowned Hunters is absolutely fine. In this one, I think I took the Inferno Fist. I was actually already beating myself up about taking the Bear Cubs. I wasn't taking another one. But Inferno Fist is, to some degree, a small amount of removal. So it's not great removal, but it actually paid off. I did get to use it once, and it was fine. In this one, I picked the Carrion Feeder, and that was wrong. I should have taken the Flame Jab. Flame Jab would have been something I could have played, but I took the Carrion Feeder, which was a mistake. And here actually took the Flamekin Zealot. That pretty much put me out of a splash. If you pay 4 cards with white in, that's a third colour. But I was still thinking of it as a splash, and I treated it as such. And actually, it worked out fine. That card didn't win me a game, but it definitely got me close to winning a game. This pick was Tarash's Grasp. And the reason I'm holding on to the card there is because we're zone drafting. So what that means is we can't pass a pack until the space between me and the next player is clear. So there's a pack sitting there waiting for him. He's waiting because someone further on down the line is taking their time. So because of that, we're actually waiting. And now the zone is clear, so you can pass the pack. And then my final pack was Pack's Favour. So that was the draft. I'm just looking through the cards now. I'll let you look whilst I talk to you. All in all, I wasn't happy. I felt like I could have done a lot better. I didn't take removal. I was still disgusted with myself. I didn't take the Fiery Temper. You can tell me what you think of my draft. You can grade me A to E. Put it in the comments. What would you have taken? How would you have gone? I still think possibly going white early would have been an option. And I think there might have been a black line as well. Some early picks there. There's Nantuku Husk, which I still remember was pretty good. It's a nice threat. You often sort of swing with it with the threat of sacking some of those small stuff that you've created and then just doing the 2. But yeah, you tell me what you think. I am going to be producing another video with the building of the deck for next week, so you can see how I built it, and I'll go through my thought process. Also, I'm going to try a thing with this one because I'm pretty new to YouTube, so I'm going to try and put on the screen the opening of both of the boosters booster boxes that we drafted as part of this mystery draft, so you can see the openings of those boxes. Anyway, I don't often talk on my videos, so this is my one opportunity to say like the video down below, click the subscribe button, and make sure that you click the bell icon so that you get all updates of when my new videos come out. Oh, I feel like a professional YouTuber. Not a professional YouTuber. Anyway, see you next time.